Welcome to Spiceworks Live. This is episode 4, Focus Your Time with 6.2. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Spiceworks Live. My name is Elise. I'm in marketing here at Spiceworks. And if you're tuning in for the first time, this is Spiceworks Live. It is what we do almost every week during a beta release here at Spiceworks. And we are coming at you live from Spiceworks HQ here in Austin and talking to you about all of the latest and greatest stuff that's in the beta. There's some really cool stuff in there, great features, and a lot of new stuff that our users haven't seen before. And so we wanted just to give you guys and us the opportunity to get up and talk about it and get some interactive feedback from you and get some questions and all that. So today we're going to be doing an interview with Caroline, who's in marketing with me, and Brandon, who's in testing here at Spiceworks. They're going to be covering some of the nitty-gritty on the latest stuff that's in there. And then we're going to be going right into the live Q&A. So we want to spend some extra time getting questions answered that you might have since the beta's been out for a little bit. There's some new stuff in there as of yesterday, I believe. And so we're going to spend a lot of time doing that. And if you get your questions answered on air, as usual, we're going to be giving away a very cool pair of Spiceworks sunglasses. Is that where the logo is? Spiceworks sunglasses. They are very, very cool. And there's a big batch of these going on today. If you've tuned in and have not gotten yours yet, do not fear. There's a huge batch getting mailed out today. So anyway, very cool. So get your questions in using the social stream below the player window, and we'll be getting to those in just a few minutes. But right now, let's go straight into the interview with Caroline and Brandon.
Thanks, Elise. Hey guys, Caroline here, and I'm here with Brandon. How are you this morning?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well, thanks. So we'll get right into it. Tell us a little bit about what just went into this latest beta release.
So this is our 6.2 release. I know last week we had a different 6.2. This is the 5.7.0 build that we just put up. There's just a couple minor changes, things we wanted to fix before we did this one. But this one has a lot to do with the scan changes that we're doing.
Okay.
So you'll see a bunch of changes on the scan settings page itself. There's a few minor changes that we made into the inventory section, but the focus here will be scan settings.
Okay. Well, and I know with this release, we really wanted users, sorry, to get involved. Can you tell us a little bit about what you want them to be hammering on, or what the setup should be to be testing this beta?
Sure. So we locked down this beta. I know in past betas for other users, they could just install it, upgrade it. We did a couple things to prevent them from running into different issues in a production environment. So the upgrade process is all detailed out inside the release notes and the test plan out there on the beta site.
Okay.
For testing on this, sky's the limit, hit everything that you can possibly think of. The scan settings page, obviously there's been a bunch of changes. That's really big. If you have devices that have scan errors and you're trying to resolve them from inventory, that's another great area to hit up as well.
Okay. And now in beta 1, we did a lot with helpdesk. We had labor tracking, tech role, knowledge-based integration, but like you said, we focused a lot on inventory in this last one, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yep, so this has a lot to do with all the scan changes. If you're new to this beta and you're looking at it now, it's going to look quite a bit different from what you've seen in 6.0, 6.1, or 5.3 for that matter. What you'll see there is we've broken things down to scan your network, and that's what the top section is about, your IP addresses that you want to collect data from, or collect devices from. And then there's a group scanning that's in there as well now. So you can scan based on different groups that you have for your servers or switches, the different types of data you want to collect, and the frequency that you want to collect that data.
Okay, great. Well, last question, because I know we really want to get over to the Q&A, is why is it so important for our users to be out there and testing? I mean, you're on the test team. Shouldn't you have already found all these bugs by now?
Sometimes I don't sleep. Yeah, so the gist of it is that our test team is working really hard at trying to find all these bugs before we get into the beta cycle and even throughout the beta process before we release. But there's so many different environments that are out there and some very unique configurations with those devices on different networks that we just can't possibly hit every one of those scenarios. So our beta testers are great for helping us do some of that testing on those edge cases, and we'll get those bugs fixed and put them into the release.
Awesome. Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for coming in, and with that, pass it back to Elise, and we'll start doing Q&A.
Thanks, guys. All right, so you heard them. Help us make sure that all of these great features work for you and your environments and get involved in testing. If you don't know how to do that and you're not involved yet, it's really easy. Just go to community.spiceworks.com, look for the 6.2 group, and you can follow the group. And in the announcements section in that main page are several announcements that talk about how you can get involved and what the test plan is and testing guidelines, et cetera, et cetera. So please do that and help us help you, as we say. So a couple of quick sort of PSAs from me. We still have a lot of contests going on in the 6.2 group. We've got Beta Testers of the Week happening and Beta Bug Spotters of the Week. All of these folks that pitch in and help us out with testing will get some special swag prizes from us as a thank you for getting involved. And we're also going to be asking a couple of users to help us out doing some live interviews over Skype on 6.2 and some of the cool new features. So look for an announcement post on that. I'll be getting something up on that shortly with more information on dates. And what else was I going to say? Oh, be sure to get your questions in if you haven't already on the live stream window. And there was one other thing I was going to say, and now I can't remember what it is. So I'll just catch it up at the end if I remember. So off to the live Q&A with Gretler and Babbitt. Hello, guys.
Off to us. What's up? What's up, man?
Jeff.
How you guys doing? It's that time again.
It's that time.
I mangle screen names and we just see what happens. So, how was your week?
The
Good
week was it was long. It was good. We've shaved.
Yeah, it's a mustache-free zone now.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's good.
I noticed one guy still walking around the office, kind of uncomfortably with his mustache still on. It's a little weird.
It's hard to say goodbye. It is. It really is.
No, it was a busy week. It was a good week. Got Beta 2 out. Updated it on Monday. That's good.
Right. I'm gonna update it today. So, we already got a little blood in the water. You want to start the feeding frenzy?
Go for
or
it.
what?
Go for it.
All right. Let's go. All right. First question. R.J. Simmons, will I have to migrate my current IT articles in the portal over to knowledge base articles, or are they gone forever?
So they're not. So let me back up and just explain what these are if you're not aware. So in the user portal right now, you can create these articles that are kind of free-form HTML, and you can write about things in your environment. They're intended to show to your end users. And this has been in there for several releases. And the plan for the knowledge base, which we introduced in 6.0, was to eventually make the knowledge base be the place where you store all this type of content, and then you'll also be able to take selected, knowledge base would also be those articles that you would share among your IT pros, your team, but also with your users. And so some subset of the knowledge base articles you would share with your end users. And so therefore, again, it's another sort of content that you can put on your user portal. So the end game here is that we'll eventually be able to take those IT articles that maybe you've previously written in prior releases and migrate them to the knowledge base and make them available for your user portal. So right now, you can continue using IT articles because we're not taking them out yet. There is a blurb on there that says something like IT articles are deprecated or something like that. They'll eventually be replaced with knowledge base integration with your portal, something like that. And so just don't worry, you can continue using them, because when we have all the capabilities inside the knowledge base that we feel like we can take all of your IT articles and put them in the knowledge base and cover everything that you were able to do with the IT articles in the past, then we'll take it out. But it should be relatively painless to you at that point in time. Right now you can keep using it.
Cool. I'm going to just start pronouncing it how I see it versus what it actually is. And Elise, can you grab it anyway, even if I do it wrong? So Drawley says, can we separate knowledge base of IT from knowledge base to users? That's kind of what you just talked about a little bit.
Yes, definitely. So when you're in the knowledge base, it's proper, not on the portal editor, but when you're in the knowledge base proper and you're looking at an article, it has a share button at the top. And when you click on the share button, you've got options in there. And inside one of those options is something about the user portal, make available or show it on the user portal or something like that. And so basically everything inside the knowledge base is intended for you and your team to share knowledge about how to do your jobs, about how to upgrade things in your environment, or how to patch, or anything that is related to your environment and your job. And but some subset of that is clearly articles that you wrote with the intention of getting your users to help themselves. And so you hit the share button, you can check the box and make it available to the user portal, and then you go onto the user portal, and similar to how you used to do it with IT articles, you have a content block, and you can say add knowledge base article to this content block, and or you can send the knowledge base article to users in the help desk, stuff like that. So definitely there's a separation. The knowledge base was definitely designed to serve both. There's some people that aren't even managing their users through Spiceworks, and they just want to coordinate and share knowledge amongst their teammates.
Yeah, no, it's very helpful for us for sure. Let's see, Skid 2342. Any update on integrated single sign-on?
I'm still working on it. I've got the plan in place, and I've done all the legwork to know that it is possible, and it's actually not that hard after the legwork took a while, but so yeah, I definitely want to try to get it in. We've got a few weeks left on this beta. It should be able to slip it in.
Cool. Got a question from Brant B on Twitter. When is the scan process going to be able to see multi-homed machines as the same one machine?
So it should right now. So if you've got a device that's on a multiple network, so let's say it's wired and it's wireless, when the scanner runs, it's going to find 2 different IP addresses, and until it logs into that device, it can't tell that those 2 different IP addresses are the same device. Once it logs in, then it can see the other NIC, or it can see the serial number from the BIOS, stuff like that. So that's when it knows. And when I say it, I'm talking about the Spiceworks scanner itself uses WMI to log into these computers, or SSH to log into these computers remotely. So if you've got problems, so start by saying it supports it right now. If you've got problems, then jump into the beta forum and report your problems and work with guys like Brandon to try and resolve them, because that should work. Once the scanner logs into the device, it should recognize that this is just another IP address for the same device.
Cool. Let's see, I think this is one we talked about last week, and this is from Frank Howard. Is it possible to scan only a particular OU from Active Directory? I don't know if we talked about like filtering out OUs, or if you even want to get, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. So it's different than the old way, but if you're doing it in the old release, if you're in a previous release, those settings will be migrated forward. And if they're not, let us know. But the plan is that, or rather, what it's supposed to be doing right now is when you've got an OU, when you scan the network and it scans your Active Directory server, it will pull in the OUs and create inventory groups inside of Spiceworks based on those OUs. And so you'll actually see all those groups show up, and they'll have a little AD badge on them on the inventory view inside of Spiceworks. And then on the scan settings page down at the bottom where you specify the schedule of what to scan when, you can use that group that came out of your Active Directory, and you can say scan this at a specific interval for whatever type of data you want to gather from those devices.
All right, that's cool. Let's see, we got more. You doing good?
I'm fine.
All right. Water, anything? Can I get you anything?
I'm
good?
hanging in there.
All right, cool. I feel like I'm grilling you today.
It's all right. We did a really long demo last week. Yeah. For those
right.
that didn't tune in last week, we did a really long demo, and so I wanted to make sure we're getting all your questions answered, because we cut questions short last week. So
cool.
Keep them coming.
All right. So RLim, do we have a solution to merge scanned items in the case of it scanning the same item twice with an IP change? So I guess I haven't seen it happen a lot. Like if it catches two devices with a different IP and you just merge it together, like similar.
Yeah, I mean
with
the logic is similar to if a device has multiple IP addresses. When the scanner logs in and to the device on a different IP address, it's going to recognize that it's a device that was previously in inventory, and the only thing that's changed is the IP address. So it shouldn't actually create a duplicate. So a lot of these issues that people are asking about, like multi-home devices and devices, duplicates, multiple devices, stuff like that, or devices that get created whenever devices move on the network, stuff like that, a lot of your issue might just be that the scanner is not able to log in. Go and look at those devices inside of inventory. If it has the red banner on them that says couldn't scan this device because the Windows account provided the password didn't work, or one of those types of errors, that's the reason. If all we can do is identify that it's an IP address on the network, that's all we're going to show you. It's an IP. We can't tell that it was last week it was IP1 and this week it's IP12. And it was the same device. If we can't log into it, we don't know what it is. And so we're just going to show you, hey, there's an IP on your network. And so a lot of this, and I say that, I mean, it might sound really basic to some of the people that know what they're doing inside the application, but or that have been using it for a long time. But I've talked to users that when they first get into it and they see the inventory and they see all the cards that we put in there, it shows you all your devices. All we're showing you in the initial display there, if you haven't entered the right passwords and stuff like that, all we're showing you is that there's IP addresses on your network, but it's not really a proper inventory. If you give us the right accounts and you enable the firewall in order for us to scan it, then we'll pull all kinds of stuff off of that box. The RAM, the slots that are available, the software, the hotfixes, the running services. You'll be able to do everything with it. And so a lot of people don't recognize because they haven't gone through the effort of actually getting the account set up right.
Yeah, and I mean, I personally prefer it to scan and see almost too much than not enough, because you want to know, even if you see it twice, it's better than not seeing it at all.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you can go through and clean it up later, but at least you know what's going on your network.
Yeah, anything that creates a duplicate, just keep bringing those up in the forums or in the support forum if it's the release that's in the field, because none of that stuff is supposed to happen. It's just when it logs into devices, it recognizes that devices are moved, and it shouldn't create duplicates.
Exactly. All right, let's see. From the Smorg, it's a tech help desk question. Can we grant them automatic access to all tickets based on a tag instead of an assigned user? Like tagging a ticket, I guess?
I assume we're talking about help desk techs here.
Yeah.
And so right now they only have the visibility to see tickets that were assigned to them. And so they're saying if it's been tagged a certain way.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of, that's more or less the evolution of the help desk tech. So eventually we want to be able to create groups of the admins, including guys like help desk techs inside of Spiceworks, and then you'll be able to create a relationship between queues or views inside of the help desk with the groups of users, and so make the ownership that way. And then that way you can have like a set of techs that are able to work, the tickets that are in this queue or this view, and that view could be if you're an MSP from different sites, or it might be because it comes from a different department of users or something like that. So that's eventual. Right now, what you could do is use the ticket rules to automatically assign based on some sort of tag, but I think the question's really asking if multiple techs can really see the same ticket, and right now that doesn't happen. So that's just go to the feature request. The help desk text this is the first time we did it in this release, to have a non-admin inside of Spiceworks. So we're still trying to figure out what does it mean to have sort of diminished privileges inside of Spiceworks.
Oh,
so
yeah, definitely. It's
go to the feature request area and start asking for those things, or comment in the forums right now until 6.2 gets out anyway.
Right, cool. Let's see. Thom Gan, we can track hours by user. Will we be able to assign to multiple user techs?
So it's a little bit of similar to the previous question.
Right.
Something that you can do also that I just thought of is you can, there's a way to put CC'd users on tickets. So when you put a CC'd user on a ticket, all of the users that are CC'd, and this is, when I say users in this context, I mean admins or techs. So it's the admins inside of Spiceworks, and you can put them as CC users, and they'll all get the email updates for those tickets. And so it's just like email CC.
Yeah, that's actually what I do now.
And so if you have a tech on the CC, then he can see the ticket. So there is a way to have techs kind of share tickets that way, but I wouldn't say that's eventually what these people want. They want something easier to use than that, but that'll get you by for a release. For
sure, yeah. All right, let's see. Oliver Dizabula. Sorry, dude. Or ma'am, sorry, or either. 6.2 makes scanning a lot easier. Is there an option to wipe all previous scan ranges and start from scratch? Scorch the earth.
Scorch the earth. So one thing that you can do is go to the top of inventory. In order to wipe out all the devices, what you can do is go to the top of inventory, and there's a bulk operations button at the bottom, or bulk delete or something like that, and you click on that and it'll give you the list of all devices, and you can do a select all and delete all devices. So that's to clear out all of inventory. If you want to go and delete all your old scan ranges and kind of start fresh there, if you look at the top where the ranges are defined on the scan settings page, those checkboxes on the left, if you're from a previous release, those checkboxes meant enabled, and that's just an odd UI thing to do, sort of faulting us for doing something kind of bizarre there, so you kind of have to relearn behaviors in the UI, but those checkboxes are like checkboxes in email, so you can check the whole list, and there's a delete button at the top, and that'll delete all the rows, and then you can just start from scratch and add a new row.
Cool, good enough. All right, Hot Rod Dave from Twitter. Does this release have a function to notify you of devices that haven't been used for a specific amount of time?
Short answer is no. I don't know what he means by haven't been used. It could be if no users logged into them, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, right now, if you do, it'll just see the last scan time.
Yeah, yeah. The other question is, does it mean used in the context of within Spiceworks, as from like the admin's perspective? So yeah, that's a tough one. If you do mean last login time, there should be a way to create a group based on the last login time. So one of the things that we put into, I think it was beta 1, was the ability to create these groups with lots of rules. There's over 120 different properties that you can use to create automatically group devices. And so one of them, I believe, is the last login time. So you can create a group of devices with the last login time within a certain range. So you can say maybe it hasn't been over a certain time. But he's saying like alerted. I don't think you can generate alerts out of that, but you can kind of have that group inside of Spiceworks, and you see devices that show up in there.
I don't know.
And also you can do reports and periodically email reports and stuff like that. There's ways to get at some of these really tough nuggets of information that aren't, in the UI proper. You got to kind of get creative.
I mean, it is handy. I mean, definitely.
Yeah, if I didn't answer your question correctly, get into the beta group and just post the question there, because I'm not exactly sure what you're looking for on that one.
Yeah, because accounts, devices, I mean, yeah, we need to know if they're stale.
Right.
Let's see. Adam M. 1968. Is there any thoughts on adding an instant message system so you can contact your Spice heads more easily?
This has come up a couple of times when I've gone to talk to groups of people, and I like the idea. But so it's a tough one to say straight up yes, because what I don't want to lose is the sort of the record that is in the community right now when IT pros have a conversation. And so if IT pros are having a conversation in the community in the context of a topic and they're going back and forth, stuff like that, I understand that it's not like a chat, because you don't have that feedback and presence and all those things that you like in a chat session. But what is good about it is that we remember all that stuff. We record it all, and so Google can crawl it. That gets more people into Spiceworks. That makes it possible for you to find topics that maybe answer the questions that you have after the fact that maybe somebody else asked and stuff like that. So we don't want to lose the sort of historical record of problems being solved. So that's one reason why I shy away from chat. So when people ask me this question, I start asking them about, like, when was the last time, what were you doing the last time that you wanted this chat feature, that you felt like, man, I really wish Spiceworks had a chat feature. And
that's a good point.
A lot of it is, I'm in the middle of trying to solve a problem, and I'm in the community asking questions, and I just don't know that somebody's there. And so what we've talked about doing, instead of bringing wholesale chat into the community, is just providing more of those chat-like features. So if somebody else is responding on the topic that you're looking at, it should show, like in a chat session, somebody's typing. Whenever you're there responding,
yeah, that would be good.
Whenever you're there responding, it should show any new responses. They should just appear, while you're in the middle of typing your response, so you don't have to like hit refresh or change pages or whatever. And then also, when you're in a conversation in the community right now, it shows the who's in this conversation section at the right. We could do things like update the avatars over there when people are just viewing the topic and stuff like that, so kind of bring them forward. And so we can do these types of things in order to make it feel a little bit more like chat when it's really not chat itself, but the benefit to everyone is that we still retain the topic in the future and stuff like that.
Would that be tough to do, like online, if they're online or like logged in, or?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Because that could help. Could be another feature. That was a good question. All right, Caroline 0212, are there any known inventory scanning problems with the current beta? Should we hammer something specific as users?
Are there known issues, Brandon?
I was going to say, be money.
That's right. Don't update your remote collectors right now, because I don't think they're working. We kind of punted on that to get this build out and sort of get feedback on the conceptual change of scanning, and just to see if people are going to freak out over that. Feedback so far has been pretty decent, so we're plowing ahead on that one. I know that if you look at the release notes, it does talk about what isn't in there, and I know one thing that isn't in there right now is that you can't, when you're on the scan settings page, you can't add sort of a mapping between a specific device and an account. But you can, so sort of like if I go and add a new range, and I know when I'm going to scan this new network that it's going to scan a such and such device, call it foo. And when it scans that computer, I need to specify this one specific login for that one computer. Like, you can't do all of that stuff ahead of time. And so, but what you can do is kick off the scan for that range, and you'll get errors, and then you can kind of go the old way into inventory, click on the device that has an error now, and then fix the scan error that way. And so that one thing you can kind of work around. No, I mean, totally beat the thing up. That's why we put in that beta feature, beta production blocker feature in there, is we want you to put it on a test machine and really abuse it and tell us what you find. So we put out the build last week. Some people noticed that, like, enable and telnet issues weren't carried forward properly, weren't scanning properly, so we fixed those, and that's why we put a build up on Monday night. So keep it coming, keep trying it, and keep it coming.
Oh, yeah, hammer it out. All right, let's see. Vanar 2000. What will be the process to upgrade if we've done new reports, custom groups, add information to devices? I think that's what we talked about a little bit. That's not gonna be able to do a straight up upgrade, right? It's always gonna be.
No, you can do a straight up upgrade. It's just not during the beta. So this came up a couple of weeks ago, I think. So the right now, when you install the beta, we're preventing you from installing it on top of an existing Spiceworks install. And the reason is that we don't want you to use this in production. Partly going back to my last answer was we want you to really abuse this thing. And we've seen people in the past when they put it in production, it's like, yeah, they're using it and that's great, but at the same time, they're kind of using it gingerly because they're afraid of like messing up their users or something like that. And so, but I don't want to mislead anybody with that feature. Eventually, by the release candidate, it's going to go back to the old way that you might be accustomed to, which is you can just run the installer on top of your old build, and it'll take everything from your 6.1 data and move it forward. And so any customizations, custom reports, all that stuff will migrate up, at the release candidate point in time, not right now.
Cool. I'm gonna let you breathe. And out. More questions.
More questions.
This will be a quick one for opt-down. Is the beta version stable enough to install in our healthcare system?
Not for production.
Not in production. Easy. All right. Milnessie 20. Bulk delete follow-up. Will that orphan the tickets that might have been attached to those inventory items?
Yeah, so this is, I think, the previous question when we were talking about restarting everything, scorched earth. Yeah, if you delete devices and those devices were associated with tickets, those tickets become disassociated with those devices. So the tickets still exist, but there's obviously no device relationship. So probably what you want to do instead is not delete all of your devices from inventory. Just go in and delete all the old ranges and start fresh there. Just start typing in new ranges, and when it scans, it'll just update your existing inventory devices.
Cool. This is it. Last
question.
The
last one? What? We got to the end?
Final countdown. All right, last question from Marcus Bryan. Can we enable group alerts to specific devices? Group alerts to specific.
Not sure what he means by group alert. So most alerts inside of the monitors page.
We already have that, right?
Yeah. You might have to follow up in the forums because most alerts, you configure them by groups of devices. So you go into the alerts page, or rather the monitors page inside of settings, and you say something like software got installed or disk space is low, one of these types of alerts, high bandwidth. You can specify which group of devices you care about. And so if you've customized groups inside of inventory, you can say, do it for the C-level laptops or whatever the most important set of devices might be to you. And that's already been in there. So I
think that was.
Yeah, I don't know what the question is specifically asking about.
Would be
so
good.
Follow up in the forums with us.
All right, great questions, guys. I mean,
it's a lot of questions.
That was
good.
A lot of information. Let it all sink in. If we answered your question, the Spice specs are yours, even if I mangled your name. They're still yours. Thanks, David. Back to glasses. Boop. Throw it back to sweet Caroline and Elise Navidad.
Okay, that's one I have never heard before.
Say Caroline,
Sure. Anyway.
At least I thought that was awesome. Okay, I have one more question that the Smorg asked. He must have tuned into the Movember episode last week, and he wants to know, does it feel better now that you have shaved?
Oh, it literally feels like
you just feel a little relieved. It's feeling good.
Yes and no.
You guys were
a little bit of remorse when you're cutting the thing off. I don't know. I think I was getting used to it.
Yeah, you were sporting a heavy.
It was ridiculous though.
It was nice.
I think what for me what happened was that it was like a big scraggly mess because I was just shaving and then to shave the thing off, I trimmed it down first. And once I cleaned it up, I was like, hey, this isn't half bad. Well, I debated keeping it, but no.
You did.
Well, it's for a good cause.
For
the men of Spiceworks.
It's a great cause. Good money. Good times.
All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, for sending your questions in. If you heard your question get answered on the air, I will be sending these out. I'm going to send a huge batch out today. So you'll be on the list if you got your questions in. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you want to follow up in the group and didn't get your question answered, then do a post in the 6.2 group. And again, you can find that by going to community.spiceworks.com and typing in 6.2.
Yeah, and of course, join the group, follow the group, everything that's going on in there. That's where you're going to get the latest updates, and we'll post responses to your questions. And get out there, hammer on the beta. Let us know anything that you find. We appreciate all of your feedback and the time you guys spend with it.
And that's it from us. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time on spiceworkslive.com.
Thanks.